Unfortunately, she passed away this January, but she did see the film uh, before she passed, and we actually both watched it for the first time on the same night. She was in LA, I was in Toronto, but we FaceTimed afterward, and she said, I loved it, I loved it, I loved it.
The Theatre Curation Project was born in the spirit of stewardship over the art, craft, and history of the theatre. Its purpose is to curate these stories of our mentors and what they passed on to us to be a resource for future generations. Its goal is to preserve these stories and the lessons within them from being lost forever.
I had the pleasure of working with Cloris Leachman in June of 2019. We were both shooting a film together. It was my first lead in a feature film. It ultimately ended up being her last lead role in a feature film. But needless to say, it was a masterclass in everything acting every day. She brought with her over 70 years of experience. I mean, she was 93 years old when we were shooting this. She made her Broadway debut in 1948 in Sunset Beach. She went on to play opposite Katharine Hepburn in As You Like It in 1950. She was also in the original cast of The Crucible and South Pacific, and of course won her Academy Award in 1972 for The Last Picture Show, and then a record number of Emmys after that. As funny and as spontaneous and as unpredictable as she is, I mean, she took that work very seriously. She was 93. She didn't have to fly up to Canada to do a small Canadian indie. But she was here because she loved the work. And you could see that. I would watch her offset memorizing her lines before a scene, and she'd be reading the script, and then she would look up, and you could see her internalizing, and then she would look down and look up again and internalize it again. And it was incredible to watch, a master at their work. After our last take together, I was able to tell her, how much I learned from her. She said, what did I teach you? And I said, just by watching you, you taught me how to truly be in the moment. You were genuinely surprised at everything, and you were so present. And she said, yeah, of course, I never know what's going to happen. I'm always surprised. That's all there is. That's all there is. I said, of course, that's all there is. Like, that's all that matters, is that moment in time between two actors. She was also a very vulnerable person. She opened up to me. We opened up to each other a few times on set about the vulnerabilities of being an actor and how that felt to her at 93. And it was something I didn't expect to hear from her. But they were very open, private conversations, and those are things that I will take with me, that I'll always remember. The quieter moments together. Unfortunately, she passed away this January, but she did see the film before she passed, and we actually both watched it for the first time on the same night. She was in LA, I was in Toronto, but we FaceTimed afterward, and she said, I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. So I'm so happy to know that she did see her final lead role performance, and she is unbelievable in this film. She is so present and beautiful, and it's a wonderful tribute to her and to her work. The experience of getting to know Cloris over those 3 weeks is something I'll never forget. It's one of those treasured memories, and I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity.